Driving today.
Hello, Constance. How you doing? My eyes are wide open actually.
Just kidding, man. I don't know you heard that. I needed to get your attention with that, but it's okay. Let's get into it. Today, we have our stories lined up for the Tech Roundup today. And the very first one got my attention, which, of course, has to do with something new, and you experts are expressing worries about that. So let's hit the ground running. By the way, guys, Tech Roundup is a weekly opinions and views and analyses of tech happenings and events from all around the world and how they affect us right here in Nigeria. So, it's like going around the world, going to Silicon Valley, going to China, coming everywhere, and then but bring it back to make sense for an average Nigerian on the streets out there. What does it mean to you? Well, let's get into the stories for today. The very first story has to do with worries about Francis Orange or Orange, like English counterparts will call it. All right, for coming into Nigeria and a number of other African countries. Now, I'll take a few parts of it so that you can understand the story. Anyone listening right now on Tech Roundup. Now, the Francis Orange moves into Nigeria, spells trouble for residents telco. That's what the story is saying. Now, France's largest telco, Orange, is reportedly making a play to enter into the Africa's biggest markets. So that's in Nigeria and South Africa. Reports say Orange CEO Stefan Richard says that the company is looking to widen its footprint in Africa by establishing a presence in these countries. But this might take a few months, so to say. Now, Wale, what could this mean for Nigeria's resident telcos? And other questions, tell us, should they be worried? I'm just thinking aloud. What do you have to say?
I don't think this is trouble for anyone. I happen to think that this is good development with another major player trying to enter the Nigerian space. And I've analyzed this with what I call my three C's, if you will. The first one being competition. So these guys will join as the fifth major telco if they actually come into the country. We're hearing, we're not sure that they're definitely coming. But this brings, if you're coming into the space as a big telco, you bring license revenue for the Nigerian government. That cannot be bad for everyone. And you increase product offering for consumers and potentially drive prices down for us, the consumers. So from a competitive standpoint, I think that is good. The second C is customers. If they are well positioned, I beg your pardon, they could go after a new set of customers by offering new packages that are more attractive in terms of pricing and other value proposition. So that, again, I don't think that's bad. And the third one is what I call consolidation. This entrance may bring new M&A, mergers and acquisition activities in the space. These guys decide to acquire an existing player in the market. We don't know what they're thinking, but we know that over the last few years, some of the existing players have had their fair share of financial trouble. So this might be attractive to one of them. Who knows? But over 266 customers globally and 150 employees in areas where Orange is situated. It has the financial muscle, if it's indeed decide to enter into the Nigerian market, to play. And regardless of the mode of entry, I think this move to get into the Nigeria brings fresh and much needed competition to the Nigerian telco space, which is maturing, as we all know.
All right. Welcome, Orange. Welcome if you're coming. Start coming now. To the next story. Uber's back-to-back efforts to drive financial inclusion. That's what the title of the story is. And 5 short years, and Uber has carved out a niche, if you agree with me, the ride-hailing space in Nigeria. Now, the pandemic came to shortchange many businesses and companies, including Uber. For Uber, there was evidently a loss in the rider volume and revenue, spanning all the way from the clampdown by the Lagos state government at the beginning of the year, which basically accused all ride-hailing firms in the state for opening without a license. To the COVID-19 made the situation even worse with the lockdown and restrictions in the movements, and many referring to the ride in their personal vehicles, are preferring to ride in their personal vehicles and they walk or just stay at home if you don't have to go out. However, the ride-hailing giant has implemented back-to-back efforts in order to stay relevant and drive financial inclusion, especially in its biggest market in sub-Saharan Africa: Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Uganda, Ghana. Now, Uber had shut down operations in these countries, just to mention also. Can we talk about some of these efforts and what you make of this particular story, Wally Farrow?
Yeah, the reason why we're referencing this story is really to inspire, entrepreneurs, technology guys out there who are wondering how to navigate in this pandemic. Uber has been trying, even before the pandemic, to diversify and bring other products to its rich network of drivers and riders, which I think is good. Particularly, they're launching Uber Cash, which is a digital wallet feature that enables the rider to top up their Uber wallet and they can pay for ride using Uber wallet. It's a good example of adaptation. You already have a customer base, you have a network of customers who are using your solution, and for one reason or the other, in this case the pandemic, you've not been able to drive the usage of your platform. What do? You try to branch out and see what else you can sort of provide to drive incremental revenue or additional revenue through your customer base. So what can tech startups learn from this continuous adaptation? I group it into three areas. One is, we all know that these are challenging times for all companies around the world. We have to realize that global restriction in particular was a problem for transportation or transport tech companies. So it's you have to think about it. What else makes you derive value from an existing ecosystem that you may have? So in a way, you have to figure out a way to reinvent your company's revenue model and revenue channel. That's one. Two, we need to always be prepared as entrepreneurs to allow the market and customers to determine what we do as a company. Sometimes the market is the pandemic. It's what you have to deal with. So even with an existing global user base, the pandemic has brought the new revenue channel for these guys, and we can learn a lot from it. And three, startup have to consider all roadmap to expansion, whether it is geographic, whether it is new product offering, whether it's a new customer type. All bets are on the table, and companies must learn to survive by thinking this way. You need a new DNA. You need to be able to adapt to continue to exist. Yeah, that's why we're story.
Okay, great. The last story on the Tech Roundup today, before we wrap up to the number of the week. Nigerians breach access to healthcare using telemedicine technology. Now, in current times, you agree with me that it is important to understand that the role of technology, of course, the role technology plays in different industrial sectors, and especially the medical industry. With over 20,000 confirmed cases in the country, the spread of the virus shows no signs of slowing down in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, in Lagos State, which is the epicenter of the pandemic, the government, are concerned of the increasing number, retracting the order to reopen all religious centers. Now, these are undeniable conflicts and, prioritizing the need to reopen society and the safety of Nigerians. So, how many, so many have indeed expressed concerns that the healthcare system in the country is not up to par. That's like a statement of fact. And what absolutely the statement of fact. And some even presume that the number of confirmed cases is relatively low because of a lack of efficient testing. Now, according to reports by the International Center for Investigative Reporting, the ICIR, from research by the WHO, and that's World Health Organization, there are only 0.9 hospital beds available to every 1,000 Nigerians. Now, this number barely makes a dent compared to the 200 million or more Nigerians who could possibly contract the virus. Now, telemedicine has been in existence for years, but unfortunately, it's yet to gain the kind of grounds that we expect that it should gain. And experts all over the world advise for the need to embrace the offerings of the practice. Now, I would like for you to talk about the role of telemedicine in this time and what you make of this particular article, which is on TechRoundUp.tv. People can always get it out there. What's the heart of this story?
So the heart of this story is looking at the pandemic in general and the role technology can play to help us close the gap in our healthcare system. You mentioned the research from Center for Investigative Reporting, which is 0.9 hospital bed available for 1,000 Nigerians. That means for 200 million Nigerians, we only have 1,800 beds. Let's think about that for a minute. Yes. So if half of us fall sick, we will only have about 900 beds available for 100 million people. That's more than chaos. That's more than what anyone can think about. So folks are trying to use technology to bridge that gap, right? We're hearing that the folks at the University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital has recently partnered with Health in a Box initiative of the Federal Ministry of Health to introduce telemedicine hospital response service. We also hear that there are several other telemedicine apps. My Dokita is coming up, which allows people from the comfort of their homes to use tech devices like their smartphone, like their feature phone, like SMS, to be able to contact a healthcare professional, a doctor, a nurse, and talk a little bit about the problem and the symptoms that they're experiencing. We think that this is something that can close the gap, and we think we have to embrace this for the following reasons. I look at it from three different perspectives. One, we need to help disseminate preventive and public health information to eliminate the risk of transmitting infectious diseases. This is going to help us to be able to transmit information that can help the general public. We need to bridge the gap in access to healthcare. There's a big gap in access to healthcare by several people in our population. This can help bridge that gap. And lastly, this is going to help save time, unnecessary trip to the doctor, and it can help save life as well. Depending on what you are going through, a timely call, a timely conversation with a healthcare professional can save a lot of lives. And that's where we're shining the light on this today.
All right, great. We'll just wrap up now with the number of the week, but not before we take a message from the sponsor of this segment, NetPlus. All right, welcome back. So our number of the week is 1 million. 1 million what?
1 million online visits by a U.S. telemedicine company called Roman. I wanted to highlight that to show that telemedicine is already growing in other parts of the world, and we will do well, especially in a country like Nigeria, where there's a big gap in access to healthcare. People are already doing this. I think we can embrace this. I think this can save lives. 1 million already on the Roman app.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Wale Faru. Thank you for speaking with us again. And that's it for the Tech Roundup today. And you can get more information online on TechRoundUp.TV.
Yes. People can review all these articles that we've reviewed today on TechRoundUp.TV. People can connect with me on LinkedIn at Wale Farron. And you can check all our Tech Roundup social media handle from Facebook to Twitter to Instagram and join the conversation. It's always exciting.
Thank you again for speaking with us, and good to see you always, Wale Farron.
Thank you, Pauline.
Absolutely. He is a tech entrepreneur, and of course, with over 25 years experience in the fintech space, here's a man you should listen to. Next week, we'll be here again for another episode.
I see your Man City. I see your Man City shirt.
Yeah, you just casted me. It's okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for speaking with us again.